Hello, this is Deborah Anderson, the Black Woman Animator, coming back to you with another video, and this is tips for animation students. I already did a part 1 that was specific to animation students. This is part 2, and this is going to be more general tips that is good for any college student. So first off, take advantage of everything. If your program, if your school has speakers or presenters come, go. You can either ask questions during their presentation or afterward, or if you're part of the organization or club that brought the speaker, you might get a little behind the scenes action and interaction with the speaker. So always go to these things. You can learn a lot, especially if it's animation specific. You can start to make connections, pick people's brains, and just meet some interesting people. The next part of taking advantage of everything is resources and services. If there is a line that gives out vouchers for books, stand in that line. I did not take advantage of this when I was in school, but every little bit helps. No matter if it's $100, $200, $50, books are expensive, so take advantage of that. Additionally, there are services where you can look at books online, or go to the library, scan your books in, and check them out from the library, and then just scan all the pages, and then you have a free book. Next is the services they have for learning disabilities. If you need to get tested and you haven't been diagnosed yet, you can get tested, or you can just have resources for a learning disability you already know you have. I remember going to the center to get tested, and it just turned out that I was being lazy because it ended up that I was like a junior in college and I was reading at a master's degree level, and so I just was like, well, there goes that excuse. So, but if you do actually have a learning disability, you can possibly get a note taker, you can possibly get more time to take tests. So sometimes for some people it might be embarrassing, but it's really important for you to let your professor know or the school know so that you can get any benefits that you need to be successful. If you need to get checked out medically, go to any health center that's on campus. Sometimes when I go back and forth between school and home, I would take the train, and there was one particular time that I got back to school and I was not feeling well. I went to the doctor, and he actually asked me, one of the questions he asked me was, have you ridden a train recently? And I told him yes, and I think it was something with the blood flow. So wear your compression socks when you're doing long travel. But if there's anything wrong, feel free to go to any of the medical centers on campus. If you're depressed or have anxiety, please go to the therapist or any services on campus so that you can get some tools to help you get through whatever you're going through. Luckily, I never had to do this when I was on campus, but I'm really glad that we're at a point in society where people are encouraging self-care and encouraging people to go to therapy. So do whatever you need to do for your mental health. Another resource and service that you should take advantage of is the Career Center. Especially if you go to an animation school, like a creative school. I went to a school that had a lot of majors, so our career center wasn't the best for the creative field. But even if you go to a different school that might not be the best for your major, go there anyway, because they do have some resources that will benefit you. But if you go to like an animation or creative tailored school, definitely go to your career services, because they might have some connections with some companies where you can easily get internships and get some job placement after you graduate. So definitely do that. The last piece of taking advantage of everything is free food. College students are out here struggling. I know when I went to college, my freshman year is when Facebook was just coming out. And so when they added the groups option, we had a Facebook group called the Free Food Bandits. So people would post any organization or event that was having free food. So any way you can figure this out on campus, take advantage. And if you go to Bible study and you know you don't go to church, at least stay at that people Bible study for like 15-20 minutes before you go. Don't be just going to Bible study and then eating and running. There's plenty other places you can get some food from. And you know they ain't gonna say nothing to you. But yeah, take advantage of as much free food as you can. And free food does not mean taking your roommate's food. I wonder if I still have this picture where I put a note on our refrigerator when I was staying in an on-campus apartment, and I put, "Don't touch my shite," and then I put a smiley face. Because one of my roommates, one time, we had a bunch of people staying with us. She cooked breakfast for the whole world, and I ain't even get no bacon. I used my stuff to make breakfast for other people, and I didn't get none. So free food doesn't mean take your roommates or other people's food. It means go where free food is offered and take that food. These next set of tips is centered around self-care. So first off, get some sleep. I definitely wasn't your typical college student because I only pulled 2 all-nighter. This next set of tips is around self-care. And first off, get some sleep. I definitely wasn't your typical college student because out of my 4 years at college, I only pulled 2 all-nighters, and one was during a pre-freshman college program. So I was about getting some sleep. And if you are able to take naps, definitely take naps. I was not a nap person in college because I've gotten better, but back in college, it took me like a whole 30 minutes to fall asleep, or maybe even more. So I couldn't take a 15-minute nap. And even when I tried to take 15-minute naps, I woke up more tired. So I was all about sleeps. And another thing was that I realized pretty quickly that if I had 2 classes that were separated by 2 hours, it was not in my best interest to go to my room and sleep, because if I was going to go to sleep, that meant I was not going to my second class because I would sleep through my alarm or my second class. So just know how you sleep and what's beneficial for you. If you can take naps, more power to you. I was also not the type to drink coffee that crazy, and I've never had a 5-hour energy or a Monster or any. There was a crazy drink at our coffee shop at RIT called, I feel like it had the word like liquid cocaine or something. It was coffee, but I never had that. So I had to get sleep because I was not putting none of that stuff in my body, and I couldn't take naps. So do what works for you, but get some sleep. Don't mess up your equilibrium. Also, for self-care, exercise when you can. In college, sometimes I would play basketball, but I definitely could have done better with this. I feel like I've maybe can't come around to liking to run now at my age, but I definitely didn't like to run when I was in college, because that's why I played basketball, because you don't really think about the running that's associated with basketball. But just running, just for fun, no. I ran the 1 mile and the 2 mile in high school, and I only did that because my basketball coach made me do it. So figure out what works for you, whether that's yoga, racquetball, basketball, going on walks. If you live somewhere that has hiking, figure out something, whether it's something you can do in your dorm room, in your apartment, or outside. Try to get some exercise. The next set of tips is around money. So first, get a bank account, especially if your parents can send you money. That will make it easier. They can just put in your routing number and your account number and send you little funds every so often. Also, you can get a bank account that's locally. That will be very convenient, especially if you get like an on-campus job or just a job in the area. And if you need to figure out any issues, you can go to a branch that's local, as opposed to having to deal with being on the phone if you just stick with a branch that maybe is from where you're from, if you go to school out of state or far. But yeah, definitely get a bank account. Next, if you get grants or scholarships, don't mess it up by getting bad grades. They will reduce the amount of money or take away your scholarship. I know I had some grants going to college, and those grants went away once I got a few C's and stuff like that. So make sure you know the stipulations of your grant or your scholarship and stick to those stipulations so you can get that help throughout college. Additionally, if you get a credit card in college, do not go crazy. Please. It took me several years to pay off a credit card that I got my sophomore year in college because I got it to spend on something specific, which was reasonably priced, I guess, for college, but then I kind of just kept spending, and so my credit card ended up going into collections, and so by the time I was paying it off, I was not able to use the card. I was just paying down the debt that I had accrued. So if you get a credit card, don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. Try to pay it off every month and make sure you have the money to pay off the credit card. Don't get a credit card if you don't have any money coming in, because how are you going to pay the bill? But yeah, be careful with credit cards. A couple more things. Realize that the refund check you're getting and that you love is part of the loan you're taking out. So what a refund check is, your loan gave a certain amount of money to the school to pay for your classes and room and board, and the refund check is just the money they didn't use. So I mean, you can continue to get your refund check and spend it on like frivolous things or spend it on important things, but just realize that a refund check is not free money. It's something that you have to pay back eventually. I definitely didn't realize this in college. I didn't really realize a lot of the financial things in college until maybe my senior year. But yeah, it's not free money. It's still part of your loan. And speaking of your student loan, if you're able to, pay on your student loan while you're still in college. Sometimes you don't have the extra money. Maybe you're using the money from a job to eat or to buy books or something. But if you have some extra, try to put it towards your student loan so it could just be going down and you have less to pay once you graduate, if you graduate. But yeah, try to pay down on your student loan while you're in college. My last set of tips is to have fun, but don't have too much fun that it costs you your grades. Hang out with your friends, play out on the quad, go to concerts, go to parties, drink responsibly when you're 21. But a tip for drinking, Pedialyte and water. Pedialyte is not just for kids, it helps. I did drink in college, but I don't drink now. But if you get too wild and crazy, get you some Pedialyte. Keep it stocked. Another thing about having fun, don't succumb to peer pressure if you don't want to do something. I know it's really hard, especially when you're that age, but do what's best for you. I remember one time, because I was in a sorority and we had our week of events, and I was the only one who had gone to every event that week, and then the last event was a party. But because I had went to every one of our other events, I had some homework to do. So I decided to opt out of the party. And one of my sorority sisters was trying to peer pressure me into going to the party because it was like a joint party. We have to support the other sorority to keep good relations and stuff like that. And I'm just like, by the end of the quarter, you're going to forget that I didn't go to the party, but my professor's not going to forget that I didn't turn in this assignment. So I'm not going. I have to complete my assignment. So even though it's very hard, you might not be able to do it every time, but if you don't feel comfortable doing something, you don't have to do it. If going to parties is not your thing, you don't have to go. Like, I had a group of friends. We would go to one of our friends' house. We would cook, talk, play games, and that's what I found fun. I only went to party after sophomore year. I only went to parties because I was in a sorority and you have to support other people. I didn't really actually like going to parties because it's the same thing over and over again for me. But some people really like doing it. So if you like going to parties, go to parties. But if you don't like going to parties, don't go to parties. If you don't want to drink, don't do it. Even though I did drink when I was in college, I babied drinks. Guys would get me drinks, or I would get drinks, and then I would just sit there with the same cup the whole time and not even drink everything because I didn't like the taste of alcohol. So I didn't drink for the taste, didn't drink for the experience, so there was essentially no point in me drinking alcohol. College is sometimes the start of people making decisions for themselves, so go with your gut. Sometimes you're going to make bad decisions. That's totally fine. It's a learning experience, and sometimes you have to make good decisions, what's good for you. Don't feel pressured. Don't feel bad if someone doesn't like your good decision. Do what's good for you. And at the end of the day, it's all about exploring. If you want to go crazy, go crazy. Just do it responsibly and safely. If you just find out through exploration that you're not comfortable with some things, you can stop doing it. College is just about figuring out what your likes and dislikes are, what you feel comfortable with, the parts of your personality that you want to keep, and the parts of your personality that you don't want to make a habit. So just explore, have fun, discover new things, grow as a person. That's what college is about. I hope you enjoyed these two-part videos. If you've been to college and you have any tips, feel free to share. Like so I know it's real. Comment and tell me how you feel. Subscribe to seal the deal and sign up for post notifications to show your zeal. I will see you in the next video.